when you take the stress out of something, it's not stressful. Uh, like I have thought for a long time. Well, actually, at the end of the day, this is sitting on a pen. That's why it's angled. At the end of the day, there's been like ASM artists who have hit me up and they're like, "Yo, I think you should get on YouTube. You'd have a lot of success there." Uh, and I've always been like, this is the bottom line. When I write something, I don't really know if anyone reads it, first of all. I mean, I have my analytics on my blog, but when I write something, I don't really care if anyone reads it, because everything I write to be read after I'm dead. If it's read before I'm dead, that's great. Like, I'm ready to talk about it. I never write anything that I am not ready to have conversation about, because even if it's something where I change my mind on, or it's something that's like, oh, yeah, I thought that that was the truth 2 years ago, and now I'm wrong, like, I'm all about having those open conversations. Open conversations is how people progress. But when it comes to filming videos and I film it and I can see no one's watching it, it kind of like hits me right in this area. And I don't know why, which I think your heart's more centered. Is it here or is it centered? I think it's centered. I don't know about mine personally. But I don't know. It just like I uploaded videos for a while and then it's like no one's watching them, and I'm more worried about that than what I read. Like I'm ready to defend what I read because I edit it like one time through. But when I film these things, I really don't edit it. Like yesterday, I filmed a video and I uploaded it to YouTube, and I didn't even watch it. I just like uploaded it, and I didn't even remember what I said. And the same's gonna be today. Man, I was gonna make a video longer than 20 minutes. Maybe I'll just make 2 videos, because if it, otherwise I have to put it on my computer. There's a 2 gig file. There's a 2 gig file. I marry them together. That's a 4 gig file. But now I've got 8 gigs on my computer. Except it's way more than that many gigs. Maybe it's not. But I filled up this 500 gig hard drive really fast. I'm eating some food right now. Every day I wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. I set an alarm at 5 and then I set another one at 6, because if I get up at 5 and I just feel like sleeping again, boom. And that's like, I naturally have done that to myself. So it's like my first alarm is like way before. Like I know if I wake up and it's like, oh my God, I don't feel like getting up. Like actually I have a whole nother hour. I just roll over, turn the alarm off. And today it felt like 5 minutes. It was crazy. I haven't had that happen to me in a long time. And sometimes I'll like turn it off and fall back asleep and then wake up and it's like 15 minutes later. I'm like, wow, I legitimately just fell asleep for 15 more minutes and then woke up on my own. But today, it was like I felt like I just closed my eyes and then immediately I was like, that was really a whole hour, But then I'm like, I got to get up, so I did it, and it wasn't that bad. But I don't like necessarily edit these, so I am less ready to defend these conversations. Like I definitely watch videos where I'm like, whoa, bro, I can't believe you said that. Like, that was just like an emotional thing to say, and it's like I'm gonna have to defend that later or whatever, So, but now that I'm like right now, I'm just gonna film this. I'm gonna eat this food while I'm talking, and then I'm gonna turn the camera and I'm gonna do some stuff over here with my shirts while I'm talking. And I'm just not going to be too stressed about it, and I'm just going to do this every day, and I'm going to start going live at night. I don't want to like make a promise that I'm going to do it every night, but I'm kind of been inspired by this guy, Sober James. He's on YouTube, but he's like totally Alcoholics Anonymous. Like that's what he talks about. And I'm like, okay, I've been sober for over 2 years. July 4th, 2018 is like the day I celebrate my sobriety. I had my last drink 12 days prior to that, but I don't celebrate the day I had my last drink. I celebrate the day I turned down my first drink, for the last time. Like, no, July 4th, people were drinking, and it was like, I could drink today. It's a party day. People are drinking. It's July 4th, and I'm not going to have a drink. And I haven't had a drink since then, So that's the day I celebrate, because I am not powerless over alcohol. I am very powerful over alcohol. I have absolute power over alcohol. It has no power over me, and that absolutely is the truth. But YouTube does have power over me, because it makes me unhappy when it doesn't show me to people, and I feel like I am doing the right thing, like just being myself. So I'm gonna eat this food, and then I'm gonna do some stuff, and I don't know if I'll do this 1 or 2 videos, but I'm just not gonna be too stressed about it. I'm gonna put it on, put it up there, and I'm gonna put it all over the place. I might do my live streams on Twitch, so it's like I upload a video to YouTube in the morning, and then at night I'm on Twitch, but I'm not trying to bite off more than I can chew. So the number one thing I'm gonna start doing is talking while I'm doing other tasks, because when it's like, oh, I have to set aside an hour to do this, and recording ASMR is like that. If I want to record an ASMR video, I have to like set aside time when it's going to be quiet, and I have to actually do that. Like that's what I'm doing for that hour or 20 minutes or whatever. But this is kind of like, I could just talk. I talk a lot. And I can easily have a conversation about sobriety and just talk to this camera about getting sober and maintaining sobriety. That's not like a big deal. So the light shed some light on the situation. I don't really think that helped very much. I'm just going to turn it off. I'm wasting electricity. But so today I'm just gonna, and I am over time gonna talk about my story, but I want to get more organized. Like I didn't do any organizing today. I want to get more organized so I can really tell it and make sure that I don't have to go back and like explain things twice. And definitely when it comes to sobriety, and I say sobriety is different for every person. Sobriety is what you say it is. I'm sober from alcohol, but I smoke weed, and I'm considered that sober because I'm redefining the word sober. It's easier. I tell people, I quit alcohol, but I also like don't do hard drugs anymore. Like the other day, I was like asking my friend for some weed, and he's like, "Well, I got some Klonopin." I'm like, "Well, that's not the same thing, and I don't just want to get high." That's the difference now. I don't enjoy those things, and I never enjoyed those things. Like there was some drugs that I did enjoy, but there was other ones where it was just like I'm just filling a space here because it's not really what I want. And I have some tobacco over here, and that's just filling a space. Like I don't like smoking cigarettes. I haven't had one today, and every time I have a cigarette, I'm like, I don't like how it tastes. I don't like how it makes me feel, and I just wish I wasn't smoking it, but it does change the chemistry in my brain. Like if I don't have a cigarette, I'll like, if I don't smoke something, that's the end of the door. If I don't consume something, like I am an addict and I do have to like do something. Like if I'm not keeping myself busy, my mind starts to turn against me, and consistency has been key for me. And this is another thing. People don't like to hear this, I don't think. There's a big gap between like people who smoke weed and people who don't. Like I know people who I don't really know what to tell those people. Like this is definitely a video for people who are okay with smoking cannabis. I can't lie, I wish I could say that I knew other ways to help you, but if you have a serious drinking problem, I just replaced it with many things. Travel and smoking and rapid experimentation, and I've only been smoking cigarettes again since July. Like I quit in September 2017, and then I think I had one cigarette in between that and April of 2019. Like literally, and it was like after I quit, it was like I quit, and then like 2 months later I was like, dude, and I was still drinking between September 2017 and July 2018, so I was definitely drunk, and I was like, dude, can I get a cigarette? Took one puff, and I was like, oh bro, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna throw this on the ground, I thought I wanted it. And he's like, it's cool, so I remember that. Ohad bummed me the cigarette, and I didn't like it, but then April 2019 came around, and I was like in Asia, and I was like kind of couldn't get weed, and I was just really stressed. It's just hard for me to focus. I wake up waiting to inhale. That's what I call it, and I used to call it that even when I like went to go pick up drugs. Like I used to go down to a bad neighborhood, let's say, and buy some heroin, and I've never put a needle in my body, which is a thing we'll just talk about another day. But I'd go down there and I would just wait to inhale, I call it. Even though I was waiting to get high, I just like I couldn't do anything. I was just paralyzed. If it was 2 hours, if it was 30 hours, I would just sit and wait to get high. And I had to like kind of do some philosophizing. I had to do some philosophy about that. Just like, okay, that's not okay. Like, if that, you're not, I still totally don't get it, but that's not healthy. You just gotta like trust the process and move forward. Like, if you're, and so I've really had to fight it with weed. Like if I run out of weed or run out of money, um, like I'm probably not gonna have money for 3 months. And so I'm like, I haven't gone 3 months without smoking weed since I was 19. I went 2.5 months without smoking weed when I went to Asia. That was it. And that was like straight, definitely 2.5 months. Like, I didn't smoke weed any day for 2.5 months. Or cigarettes. I didn't smoke weed or cigarettes, but I did consume a lot of caffeine and sugar. Because in India, they get this chai tea all over the place. But that waiting to inhale thing is something I had to like practice and deal with. And it's just like, if you find yourself in that position where you're like, spend a lot of time just thinking about it, you gotta find, it doesn't matter, you gotta fix that. That's, I think, almost number one. So that's why I have this tobacco over here. It's easier for me to avoid having one cigarette than not having the ability to smoke a cigarette. If I don't even have the ability, I start to think like, damn, like, at least if I had a cigarette, I could have a cigarette. I don't think that about alcohol because I just leaked a little. I just can't drink alcohol. That's like a different kind of thing. It changes my brain. Like, when I have a cigarette, it does also change my brain. I noticed I hadn't had a cigarette in 10 days, and every day I'd wake up and I was like not really super like happy, but I wasn't, definitely not like feeling emotional or anything. But today I woke up and I was just angry. Like, my brain, I did some damage to my brain doing all those drugs for sure. Maybe it always would have been like this, but I have a feeling I did something, because it's like, I gave it 2 cigarettes last night, and this morning I woke up just angry. Just like angry at the world and at myself. Just like, dude, you're a failure. Why didn't you just get it over with, But, fought through that. Didn't have a cigarette because I'm like, no, I'm not going to have a cigarette. That's not the answer here. But at least I have access to them. And so that's the thing. It prevents me from waiting to inhale. Like, I'm not waiting to have a cigarette. I'm not just waiting to smoke weed. I'm just going to do things. Even if it feels like you're doing nothing, you should do something. And really basic things you can do if you're fighting that urge. You're just like, okay, I'm not going to go buy alcohol and have a drink. I'm not going to go buy my drug of choice. But, I've noticed I've just been sitting here, waiting. You're like, wait. So maybe you're even just like trying to fight. You're like, no, I am going to do it some more. But I am interested in quitting this stuff. But I'm not going to quit it yet. But you have these waiting to inhale gaps. You just got to do something. Cleaning your house is a big thing. Yard work, going on walks. Music is my best friend. I mean, I walk around and listen to music. There's definitely been times where I just go on an 8-hour walk. Because it's like, that's just, I'm just not right in the head. I'm not feeling good, so I just go on a long walk. A lot of 1 or 2 hour walks and 30-minute walks, but I've definitely gone on 8 to 10 hour walks, no question. I'm big on walking. I walk a lot, and that was like another huge tool in my sobriety kit. ASMR, watched a lot of ASMR videos, did a lot of walking around, and cannabis, smoking cannabis. Cigarettes was not part of that toolbox. In fact, quitting drinking became way easier after I quit smoking cigarettes. Because once you stop smoking cigarettes, you like, and that's out, I started to realize, like, I never liked smoking cigarettes. I told you that earlier. It hurts. And it doesn't make me feel good at all. It's all 100% in my head. I think, like, oh, I need a cigarette, and then I have it. I'm like, okay, well, I still feel like I need a cigarette. And that's just, it's a never-ending thing. So you just got to get rid of them forever. But I would notice, like, wow, I would literally have a drink sometimes just so I could enjoy a cigarette, because I don't enjoy it unless, like, there's these other things going on. So quitting smoking really made it easier for me to quit drinking. And then now that I've quit drinking, I can control my cigarette consumption. Like, I smoked for 3 weeks in Vietnam, and then I quit. I was like, nope, I'm not going to smoke any more cigarettes on American soil. And I've failed at that. But I'm like, you got to give yourself some leeway. Like, I'm trying to open a business right now, and I'm kind of like, I'm just trying to open a business, and it's just those things take time. It's going to take a long time. My shoulder's all messed up, so I can't go do like construction work, and even washing dishes is quite hard for me. I can't carry trays. There's a lot of just basic things I can't do. I can work at a desk, and since I am a writer, I've been thinking like maybe I should try and write articles for like magazines or something and get paid that way, just to get some cash flow in to help me with my own projects. That's you. You got to figure out what you're good at and do. But like I can't really do physical labor even though like I could go get a job as a dishwasher. It's just it hurts, and it began to hurt so bad where it's like I'm scared of it. I know what that's like. It's not going to make me go back to drinking because that's just you put your Nikes on and you just do it. Like I'm just not going to drink again. That's no matter how bad it gets, I can't, so I just don't. And I know that might seem impossible for you right now, but I promise it's a mind state you can adopt. That you're a human. I mean, if you were not a human, I wouldn't be so sure. You're like an alien or a dog, dolphin. I don't know how their brains work necessarily, but if you're a human, you can just do it. There's a lot of humans that just get it done, and if you think you can't get it done, well, then you can't. But if you think you can get it done, then you will. And, so that's that. Consistency is key. Every day I wake up 5 or 6 and I eat a can of beans for breakfast. Well, first, my schedule has switched up over time. Like, I don't always do the same thing. I'll kind of have a schedule for several weeks to several months, and then maybe I change up my routine a little bit. But like recently, for at least the last 3 months, wake up, make coffee, have a cup of coffee. And in the last week, I've been recording a reel on my Instagram of me making coffee, and that's become part of the process too. So wake up, make some coffee, I put my water on, boil the water, come out here, open up the laptop, go on YouTube and start looking at the ASMR videos that are there. Select one, open up a Word document, kind of start writing. Okay, my water's probably boiling by now. I go finish up my coffee. I make a French press every morning. It's 2 cups. I drink both of them. It's actually like 1.5 of these. And have some now. And I write the article, publish the article, ideally by 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, well, this is not really part of it, but I publish it at 5 a.m. Pacific Time, and I plan to go back to San Francisco, and then I'll have to write the article the night before because I can't wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and write the article. That's a little ridiculous. I did used to wake up at 3 a.m. every day in San Francisco and go to the Montgomery Block Starbucks and do writing for 2 hours before I went to work, so I can do it, and that's kind of what inspired me to do it here. But once I move back to San Francisco or the Bay or maybe LA, wherever I go, maybe I'd go to Arcata, I don't really know. I'm gonna do it the night before. That's a thing that I'm eventually going to get into, and it'll probably be like I write it in the morning. And if you watched the video yesterday, I'm trying to dedicate more time to this. Once I'm more secure with my income, I'll be able to dedicate more time specifically to the blog. But right now it's like I started the blog, I do it every day, and I want people to let me know, how I can improve. It's not your job to let me know how I can improve, but just any comments would be appreciated. You read the blog, you let me know. People reach out all the time, and I know that they believe in what I do, but I don't necessarily know if they understand why I'm choosing to do it, how I do it, but I don't think they care. They're just like, all right, here's a guy who is a recovered alcoholic and he's writing every day. Maybe he can help my friend, So these are kind of me trying to explain just all of the numerous things I did to lead up to my life that's not perfect. It's still a little sloppy. People like think I'm a homeless person a lot, you know, but I'm not. I'm just like really living free. So I wake up and then we do that. We get to write the article. Article's published at 8. You know, I still got coffee in my cup, and then I kind of like do whatever, and then I just set the mind free, and I'm trying to focus on making money because I have a shoulder injury, and getting a job, when you have a job that you work hourly, you pay the most taxes. And if you're a contractor, you're in the second, you know, out of the three, and then if you own a business, you pay the least taxes. Um, and you know, I'm ready to have a conversation about that and either teach or learn whatever needs to be done because that's what I'm focused on. So is business orientated. So then the rest of the day I kind of like let my mind go free. And it wasn't always like this, you know. I when I had a job, the last job I had, I worked in San Francisco, and you know, I'd wake up and I like having my mornings. They're so important to me. And I got a job. I was like, I want to get a job that starts really early so I can because that's when I perform at my best. But then after I did it for like 6 months, I realized like, no, I need my mornings to me. And then even though at night I really don't feel like going to work, those are the hours of the day I need to give away, are the useless hours where I'm not doing anything. By 5 p.m., I pretty much am not that efficient anymore. All of my efficiency for the day has been used up, and those are the hours I should have been giving to another employer because I still can do a good job after 5 p.m. Most fast food jobs that I've worked are not that difficult. So then I was waking up at 3 a.m. so I could still get some time in the morning, and I would go to bed at like 7 p.m. But then eventually I eat breakfast, and every day for a while now, I eat a can of black beans. They're not totally cold yet. Unsalted black beans. I'm really trying to take care of my diet, and people are always like, well, I don't see how you can care about the food you eat when you've done so much bad stuff to your body. But it's like, I would rather smoke weed than eat sugar, you know? And that's the choice I make. And I know that if I do both, it's not as beneficial. Like for a long time, I would wake up, smoke weed, and eventually try and go to the coffee shop first, drink coffee, but almost never. I'd smoke weed first, then drink coffee, and I'd have a scone, so I've got, you know, the cannabis, the caffeine, and the sugar all going, and it really gave me high anxiety. Every single day I had high anxiety, and I was just like dealt with it. I was just like, this is what keeps me on my toes. And I did thousands of pages of writing as I felt like that, and now we're on a new stage in my life where I'm trying not to have that anxiety. And I always thought it was the coffee, but it was definitely the sugar. If I go like 3 days without having sugar, yeah, we're gonna have to make it 2 videos. If I go 3 days without having sugar and then I consume sugar, like this happened to me last week, I like could not believe how anxious it made me. I like really couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I'm sweating and I'm like freaking out, and all I did was have like a cup of sweet tea, you know? It was crazy. So I'm like, okay, sugar, I gotta be vigilant about sugar. Sticking with the caffeine and the cannabis, but cutting sugar out is a thing I'm fighting right now, and it's not really a hard fight. It's just like, I just do it. So I eat these can of black beans, and now I'm having bacon and eggs, and I got bread here. But definitely, like, most days I try to stay vigilant, eat a can of black beans. It's not always, like, enjoyable, but it is just getting the job done. Like, Einstein wore the same thing every day, so he didn't have to think about what to wear. And if you think that's crazy, I mean, that guy did some really important stuff. And, you know, he changed the world, no doubt. But he wore the same thing every day, so he didn't have to think about what to wear. And there's something to that. So I eat black beans every morning, can of black beans every morning, just to get myself going. Now I got the pork in here and some eggs. I'm definitely not a vegetarian. I'm trying to be way more vigilant about where my meat comes from, but there's this hierarchy of needs. Like, I got to take care of myself first. First, I took care of my sobriety. Now I'm taking care of my income. And once those two things are taken care of, then I can start to expand more on, like, self-care and the things I actually want. You know, if I want higher quality beans, if I want higher quality meat, and if I want higher quality food, that's kind of next for me. I'm aware that it exists, And I'm thinking about it now. And I thought about sobriety for a long time before I became sober. Like, I realized in 2013, like, okay, I'm an alcoholic with a serious problem, and I need to get it under control. But the fact was, I just couldn't. But I did eventually, and I was thinking about it. So the sooner you admit you have a problem, the sooner you can begin to fix that problem. And don't expect or feel like it should happen fast. Everything happens slowly. But you want to do it right the first time. You don't want to like quit drinking at 22 and then go back to drinking at 31. You know, that's not the right way to do it. Like, you want to quit once and forever. You know? So I have my breakfast, my black beans, try and keep it like the same in the morning. And beans are like, I realized how much I love beans when I went to Asia, because there's no beans in Asia. I mean, they exist, but they all come from this side of the world. I'm pretty sure about that. It's always canned beans from Mexico. That's all the only beans I found in Asia. You know, so they're sitting on a boat for 3 months as they're coming over there, and they're expensive. It's like what would normally be $1 a can is like $4 a can over there. Don't quote me on that. And again, with the money being different over there, it actually was probably cheaper. But I was just like, whoa, comparatively, I'm not going to pay this much for beans. And I just can't believe that there's no beans in Asia. I really am excited to go to South America. They got the beans going on. I like rice, I like curry, but damn, I love beans. And so when I came back, I started eating beans more because I realized, whoa, I love beans, and they're like really healthy. I think most successful cultures in history have been cultures that consumed beans. Green Tortoise bus driver told me that, and she has like 2 college degrees. So I eat the beans and try to keep it consistent. And then the rest of the day, you know, I live with my dad, and he doesn't necessarily eat very healthy, but he doesn't like, you know, I've met people that eat less healthy than my father, but he doesn't necessarily eat so healthy. But I imbibe in his way of life because I live under his roof and I don't have any money. He buys me lunch, I'm eating that lunch. You know, I'm not gonna complain about being able to eat. But in the morning, you know, I definitely keep my meals cheap. And like a can of beans, like I pay 69 cents for a can of beans, go buy 10 of them, you know, go buy 100 of them, whatever I do. And then I've just got that can of beans every morning. And if it really were to come into a pinch where I can't afford food, I'm sticking with the beans. Beans, beans, beans. That's like, so, and I've actually been thinking like more than just talk about stuff, I'm going to create a structured program to help you with your sobriety. A syllabus, and a set of beliefs, because, you know, modern man is able to be the most advanced creature as we know in the universe due to our ability to believe in things that are not there. And so the first thing we're going to talk about, well, first we talked about the beans. I think you should try beans. I think you should try eating beans. Eat a can of beans every morning so you don't have to think about that. You know, and that's like, I'm still working on it. I don't want to like 100% confidently tell you like this is the program, you need to do this. But eventually I will be telling you that. And of course there's stipulations. Like, I'm only expecting this to work for 10% of people. Out of 100 people that watch this video, 10% of them should be able to achieve sobriety through my methods. That's the statistics that go along with Alcoholics Anonymous. Out of 100 people that attend the program, 10% of them find success through Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm basing my success rate on that. But this is going to be the first piece of required reading if you want to find success with my sobriety program. You find yourself a copy of this book at the library, or you pick one up. I should really put a link in the description below. If Amazon, I have been an Amazon affiliate, but nobody's ever bought anything through my affiliate links, so I think after 6 months they shut me down, and it might be more than 6 months now, but otherwise I'll drop a link in the description, or maybe I'll re-sign up. And if you can't afford a copy, drop a comment or find me, asmr.community. You got to spell out the DOT. Find me on Instagram. You can also find me at SparkTwain, and drop me a DM, and I will find a way. I'm not going to personally pay for it because I don't have money, but I will then find a way to get you this book. There's no doubt in my mind I can get you a copy of this book. Mine is from India. I don't even know if it's. I think it might be edited differently, the version in India, because he uses the word myriad in a way that I've never heard an American English speaker use. But so, my copy was, I bought this in Kolkata. So I'm going to get you a copy of that book if you need it. No question about that. My food is probably getting cold, so I'm going to take another bite. Oh. Not that cold yet. What are we at? 30 minutes, so I think it's like 22 minutes. It forces me to separate it into two videos, so I will have to marry these together. I guess I'm going to do it on the computer. And when you upload a video, I think you have more freedom when you do it on the computer. And the reason I'm thinking about moving my live streams over to Twitch, granted I only did my first live stream yesterday, is because people can drop raids in there. So I'm hoping that ASM artists will be like, oh yeah, I'm going to drop my my viewers into your room, because this is the bottom line. I did use ASMR to help me get sober, but I could have chosen I could write, a blog about beans, and revolve my sobriety program around beans, but I revolve it around ASMR because there's already millions and millions and millions of people on the globe looking up ASMR. And so if all the people who are looking up ASMR learn how to help people with addictions, then that's like easier to spread. Like I can help X amount of people, but if I help 100 people and all those 100 people help 100 people, now we're talking about real progress. So I chose ASMR because it's already got a big audience and it did help me get sober. It's not the only thing that helped me get sober, but it did help me. And I think the ASMR community, already dealing with mental health, is a really good place to talk about sobriety and addiction recovery. And I especially think it's a young audience that watches ASMR, and they're going to be more open to me talking about cannabis use as like a way of maintaining sobriety, which sounds strange, right? But like, not only is it legal, it's fully legal in California and it's medically legal here in Florida. And I see on my Instagram and in real life all sorts of people with medical cards wake up every morning and smoke, got full-time jobs, they're doing well. I think they're doing better than me, at least with their finances and how happy they are. I'm a naturally kind of a happy person, but I definitely go through some dark times and they're all in my head, But when I'm smoking weed, the times are not so dark. So I think that the young people are more open to that. And also, it's already a community. Like, I can see a future where people are dropping comments in ASMR videos like, hey, I read this daily blog at asmr.community, and it's really made me think that you guys might be available to have a conversation with me right now. Is there anybody here, especially if it's a live stream? Now, I don't want to destroy the community, so it's just like, but no, I'm not even worried about that. Like, if there's an ASMR live stream in the live chat and you go in there and you say, hey, I watch ASMR videos to help stay sober and I'm having a hard time right now, I'm looking for some encouragement, you're gonna find that encouragement. It's not like going to an AA meeting or an NA meeting. Those people who are watching those ASMR videos, they're not just gonna talk about the times that they used to drink and get high. They're gonna talk about other things. And I really think that those comment sections are gonna become a home for people who are looking to gain sobriety, because you're gonna find a good community there. Those people are so nice. These people who create ASMR, especially. Sometimes you get people who watch it who leave these strange comments, especially like men gearing up to like ask women for things, which is a thing I've written about before. I think that we'll just talk about that another day. But that's a really good community, and the creators are gonna guide that. Like, if you go in there and you're like, hey, I watch ASMR videos to help maintain sobriety and I'm having a hard time right now, I'm just looking to have a conversation, how are you guys doing? And then some other commenter is like, you're a fucking loser, you should just have a drink and get it over with. You know, I think the person who's creating the video will always side with you and will help eliminate that toxicity from the chat room and subsequently from your life. So, choosing ASMR as my medium of talking about sobriety is on purpose, and it's not to, it's not, I was worried that people would be like, oh, you're using the ASMR community name wrong, you're like talking about sobriety on here, but it's like, first of all, I have great confidence in what I do, and second of all, mental health and ASMR are like, they're tight knit. You know, I talk to other people. I'm like, oh, the future of ASMR is definitely medical, and they're like, well, I don't know if it's medical. I'm like, what? They're doing research studies. Like, eventually, I think insurance will cover ASMR in some sort of strange way, but we're talking way far down the road. And obviously, you can't quote me on that, but it's just like there is medical benefits. I'm under the impression, and it's probably the truth, that I mean, this is a fact. Humans experienced ASMR before the internet existed. You know, the first time I ever got ASMR was at the eye doctor, the real life eye doctor. When I go to the eye doctor, it's such a relaxing experience, and I do get the tingles down my spine in real life. 1, 2. Like, could you repeat that? and so I think way before the internet, way before the year 1900, maybe for the last 1,000 years, people have been getting, I don't know, as far as caveman times, people have been getting these tingles down the spine. You know, they're just sitting by a waterfall after they're done hunting their food, and they're like listening, and they're getting the tingles down their spine. So ASMR is not a thing that just cropped up with the internet. It's a thing we now have can have open conversations about because we can self-induce it. But before, you might just sound crazy. You're like, I sit by this waterfall and I always get these tingles down my spine. And if other people don't get that, they're just going to be like, okay, what's next? Are we going to hunt the food or not, you know? And so it's kind of a new phenomenon. And so since there's so much flexibility in this new phenomenon, it does also give me a lot of confidence that I can take the asmr.community name, the ASMR community, and really focus on mental health. Because right now we're talking about addiction and sobriety, but in the future, I mean, asmr.community could be a good home. The 4 big ones: depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction recovery. Those are the 4 things that I have great confidence ASMR can help you if you suffer from those things. And that's like, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a medical professional, and there are no guarantees. It's not like you're going to watch a video and it's going to help you, and it's cruel to expect that those things will help you. Like, definitely don't have expectations, but it has been proven over time that, you know, people can watch ASMR and improve the quality of their life. In what aspect, I cannot specify, I cannot talk about that, but there is enough people who will cite, oh yes, I watched ASMR and it helped me with blank. So those are the 4 big ones I believe are worth focusing on. And when it comes to doing research, if we really want doctors to be able to tell us for sure if ASMR can help us with these things, we need to start talking about it openly and having conversations about it today before we're really sure. Because I think it's not dangerous. You know, ASMR is not an experimental treatment. It's not an experimental drug. It's not like you're in trial here. You're watching free videos on the internet, or you're going to the eye doctor, and the risk is minimal. And I have great confidence that, like, I'm ready to have conversations about this. The risk is minimal when it comes to ASMR. It's not an invasive treatment or anything, so it's worth a try. If you can try something for free that's readily available, it's not like there's 1 or 10 or even 100 videos. There's like 14 million ASMR videos on YouTube. So that's 14, you know, I don't know if you can even really identify if ASMR helps you until you've watched all 14 million of those videos. So if you're not sure, watch another video. That's my recommendation. and that doesn't sound maybe any better than like go to another meeting, and every meeting is different. When we're talking about Alcoholics Anonymous here, every meeting is different. They tell you that, if you don't like this meeting, try another one, and that is true, but similarly, every video is different, and I don't think you should write off ASMR, especially if it's something you're like, okay, I'm open to this. I meet some people who are like, no, it's like nails on a chalkboard, I hate it. It's like, okay, not much to be done about that. I'm not going to like try and force you into doing something that you don't like. I'm not going to keep talking you into something and be like, well, why don't you try it? No, it's like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel, and that's okay. 10% of people I'm aiming for. But if you're open to the idea of ASMR, you've watched the videos, you're like, okay, I like it, but it's like, I don't know if it's necessarily helping me with these things. First, you gotta practice meditation. That's a thing I'll get into in a different video. You gotta like prepare your mind to accept change that could be there, and then you want to find the right type of video for you and the right creator for you. So that's a wrap on today. I'm going to eat my beans and my bacon and bread and eggs here, and then I'm going to crumple up some tie-dye shirts. If you're looking to support my channel and my blog directly, I don't necessarily accept donations, although there is, obviously, I have a Venmo. All these creators put it out there. My Venmo is at Robert Plant, and my Cash App is at money symbol Spark Twain. Those are the two things. And I'm talking about Robert Plant like the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. At Robert Plant, that's my Venmo. But mostly I think that the best way you can support me is by buying these t-shirts I make. I got a couple here. I tie-dye and screen print my own t-shirts. And I do this because I'm trying to build an income, support myself financially as a writer. And so I thought that making these shirts was a good way to do that, and it also will create jobs for other people in the future. But for right now, I do it myself. And so I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a sober day if that's what you're trying to do. You set that goal, achievable goal, and then you achieve it one day at a time, and I will see you tomorrow. Or tonight on the live stream. We'll get to that more in the future, but we'll definitely see you tomorrow morning. Peace.